Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I have often heard my conservative Christian friends tell me that it's the church's role, the church's responsibility in the United States of America to take care of the nation's poor, and that's not the government's job. My conservative Christian friends have told me that if they did not have to pay so much taxes, if they did not have to pay taxes, period, that they would provide a lot more money to charity and a lot more money to the poor, that they would take better care of the nation's poor if they did not have to pay taxes. They take a libertarian view of charity and think that government should just get out of the way. That they say that government social programs are a hindrance to providing effective social services to the hungry, to the homeless, and to the poor in the United States of America. They believe if we had to solely depend on faith-based Christian programs in the USA, that we would eradicate poverty. If there were no government social programs, but only faith-based Christian programs, that we would eradicate poverty. And it's really extreme, because I know if that were the case, if we indeed had to solely rely on faith-based social programs and no government social programs, I'm pretty sure I know how the poor would end up and what would happen to the poor in the United States of America. Now, I myself am an anarchist, and I am as well very much against essential government. Because I do agree that government programs, federal government social programs, get in the way of providing effective social programs directly to the homeless, to the hungry, and to the poor in the United States of America. Federal programs do get in the way of providing effective social programs. Because I'm an anarchist, and anarchy is on the spectrum of socialism. And I believe in a very radical, voluntary socialism, a very radical, direct socialism. Local communities providing socialist-based economy and social-based government to the communities so that we could directly provide for the homeless and the hungry, and we could eradicate poverty directly as Americans, and that would be the best expression of democracy. So I'm an anarchist, and I do agree with that. But let me give you a few statistics. Now, first of all, over the last 20 years, since the government has significantly cut social programs, ever since the welfare reform implemented by President Clinton, there has been an astronomical increase in the number of people who are below the poverty line in the United States of America. And obviously, the church, Christians in America, are not filling in the gaps with the huge increase in poverty in the United States of America. Now today, in the USA, there are 800,000 people who are homeless on any given day, who do not have any sort of shelter. 800,000 Americans who are homeless, and Christians are not filling in the gaps. They're not providing shelter for the homeless as a result of all these government cuts in spending with social programs. So the 800,000 Americans, and today there is 17.5 million households that go hungry in the United States of America. That equates to about 50 million Americans going hungry. Having very little, if any, food stamps, and just go hungry. That's also equates to 16 million children, 16 million American children who go hungry on any given day. And obviously, Christians in America are not filling in the gaps and feeding the hungry in our own country. So another couple other statistics is the percentage amount that Americans give to charity annually. Americans that make more than $200,000 a year, they only provide 2.5% in 2.5% of their income to charity annually. So compared to the middle class in America, they give the highest percentage of their income to charity and to the poor in America. Like, what was I reading? Like, the average American family gives 5% income to charity, and the middle class are the ones that give the most. And the ones that give the least are especially the top 1% of Americans, who own 60% of the nation's wealth. The top 1% of Americans own 60% of the nation's wealth, and they give less than 2% of their annual income to charity. So I wanted to give you those statistics and show you that if there were no government social programs, Christians in America would not indeed fill in the gaps, and the poor, the hungry, the homeless, they would just go to hell in a handbasket, basically. So generally, I'll be honest, Christians in America are very selfish. They are not giving their money to the poor. They're giving very little to the poor. They are not, Christians in America are not putting clothes on Jesus. They're not giving food to Jesus. They're not visiting Jesus in prison. They're just not doing anything for Jesus because they're very selfish, and most of the income they receive they keep. Like Jesus Christ said, freely you have received and freely give. But Christians in America don't do that. So that is very inaccurate for Christians in America to say that they would indeed provide for the poor if they did not have to pay taxes, because Christians in America are not filling in the gaps with the result of the huge cuts in government programs for social services. So that's all I wanted to say. I want to say I love you very much, and have a good night.